Hello, this is Tara and Ava. We are going to start with some of our basic groundwork. What I have here is a compilation from a lot of different cowboy type trainers: John Lyons, Clinton Anderson, Craig Cameron. The exercises I'm going to show you today are particularly things I've learned from Clinton Anderson. What I'm asking Ava to do first here is to follow the feel of the rope on her neck and touch her belly. When she makes an effort to reach back and touch her belly, I drop the rope and give her a reward. This is actually pretty interesting because the horse has to give up a lot of control to do this. And you'll find the horses will do one or two pretty nicely, but when then you start asking them for about 7 to 10 repetitions, they get pretty impatient and try to explain to you that they've already done it as many times as they want. But you can see Ava, as she reaches around, she comes back and she's licking and chewing. She's understanding what it is that she needs to be doing. This is the first exercise that you can do to establish that you're in charge for the day without putting yourself in a position to get injured or hurt or anything like that. I like to do this right when I get the horse out of the pasture at the beginning of every day. The next exercise that I'm going to show you, besides getting Ava to back out of my space, is to yield her hindquarters. Essentially what we're going to be asking her to do is turn the forehand from the ground. What I'm doing is swinging the rope towards her butt, and when she moves her butt out of the way, then I quit swinging the rope. This has been a big issue for her because she doesn't think that I should be in charge. So you can see when I do actually smack her with the rope, she jumps sideways, a little bit insulted. But you can see that she comes back and tries to get in my space again, so she's not too upset about it. So we're going to keep working on this for her to yield her hindquarters over and over until it becomes easy. So you can see, why would I want to try to do this from the saddle when she clearly doesn't even understand to do it from the ground? It's much easier to get this exercise understood and agreed upon right now before I ever even put the saddle on her. And then she understands what I'm trying to do. So you can see right here, she's starting to move around just from me looking at her hindquarters, and that's the ideal position for her to be. Now I'm going to ask Ava to start moving her shoulders over. This is not the first day we did this, but this is an exercise that takes a lot of practice. What I want her to do is to cross her outside front foot in front of the other foot. She wants to go backwards and she wants to move her front foot, cross it behind. Anything but actually have to yield and move over. I think this must be giving up a lot of dominance for a horse, because every horse I've done this with, it takes a lot of convincing to get them to do it. But then once they understand this, it makes your life a lot easier. This also translates to when you're leading your horse from the ground and you need to turn them and you're walking into them. It teaches them to move out of your space as you're leading. And once they understand this, correlates when you're riding to a turn on the haunches. You can see what Ava's doing is pretty typical. She wants to move her butt around now more than she does her front end. Anything to avoid moving those shoulders. So we're just going to keep practicing this over and over until she agrees to move it. And then this is also a precursor for getting her to do a nice leg yield down the fence. You can see clearly if she wants to bury all of her weight on that front end, we're going to have a hard time doing a leg yield. This is probably the biggest hurdle I have found to get over with groundwork, but it becomes one of the most rewarding lessons that you can teach your horse, especially when they're this big. This segment's going to go a little longer than you might expect because I want to take some time to really show you how this works. I'm going to get a little more assertive with Ava. She's gone through the first stage of learning that horses do, where they try to understand what you want them to do. Now she's kind of slid into the phase of, yeah, but are you going to make me? You can't make me. And so I want to just nail this exercise to where she really understands how to do it and then agrees that she has to do it. So there you saw she did a couple of really good steps. Now she's backwards. There's a good step. Backwards, backwards. There's a nice cross. You can see her starting to lick and chew a little bit. But she's still coming up into my space, which I don't want her to do. And it's one of the things John Lyons particularly talks about, the phases of horses learning. Is first step is getting them to understand, and then you have to get them to agree. So I'm going to get up in her face a little bit and really make the point that I'm in charge. And I just wanted, this video shows some of the good reactions horses have, and I want you to see how that works. Because you're going to see in about a month, Ava's going to have this exercise wired, and she's going to be perfect. This is a cowboy rope halter that I like because it gives her a little bit of respect. You can see how she's shouldering in. She's trying to push me over and walk into me. So I'm just smacking that shoulder a little bit. Now she's trying to run over me. All natural. She's trying to figure out any way she can go, and I just have to keep saying, no, no, there's one answer. You move around and away from me. So right now she's just trying to ignore me and say, pretty soon you'll quit, you'll go away. But I'm not going to quit and go away. Just going to keep upping the intensity. And you can see she's not too irritated. Now she's trying to run over me again. Backing her up, saying, no, we are going to do the exercise like this, and you're not going to run over me. But you can see I like to get all this straightened out on the ground. It makes the riding so much easier. And just keeping after her, saying, no, you need to move over. That is the answer. And there she's trying to show me her big stuff. And I say, yeah, that's pretty, but I'm not impressed. Meanwhile, you need to keep moving that shoulder over. And this is when she starts to really go, oh, okay, because, you know, she tried her big move and I wasn't impressed. And so that's about all that she has. She's starting to, still shouldering in a little bit, but she's starting to back up. She's staying out of my space a little bit. And this is just the natural process you go through. Some people don't like to do this kind of groundwork, but it's the boring stuff that makes all the difference.